Once upon a time, in a quaint misty village nestled between lush green hills and the shimmering sea, lived a poet named Elara. She was known for her gentle spirit and her affinity for the night. By day, she spent her hours in a small, sun-dappled cottage surrounded by shelves of well-worn books and windows draped with gauzy curtains. The sunlight filtered softly through the leaves, casting playful shadows on the wooden floor, yet it was at night that Elara truly came alive. Elara had long been enamored with the moon. To her, it was not just a celestial body casting its silver glow upon the earth, but a confidant, a muse, and a silent companion in her solitude. Each evening, as the world settled into a quiet lull, she would retreat to her garden, her heart thrumming with anticipation. The garden was a tapestry of colors, vibrant flowers, lush green leaves, and the intricate patterns of shadows created by the moonlight. There, with pen in hand and a notebook resting on her lap, she would pour her heart out in letters addressed to the moon. They were tender, filled with musings that danced between the lines of poetry and prose. Elara would write of the moon's ethereal beauty, its phases that mirrored the ebb and flow of her emotions, and the way its light seemed to cradle her in an embrace from afar. The villagers spoke of her passion. Some dismissed it as mere whimsy, while others found solace in her words, interpreting them as reflections of their own unexpressed feelings. As she wrote, the garden around her transformed into a sanctuary of shadows and light. The flowers swayed gently in the night breeze, their fragrances mingling with the cool air, creating an atmosphere of magic that only deepened Elara's connection to the moon. It was in these moments that she felt the most alive, her spirit soaring as she captured the essence of her thoughts on paper. The moon, in its silent glory, became both the subject and the audience of her heart's most intimate revelations. One particular evening, as the world was bathed in the soft glow of a full moon, Elara felt an inexplicable urgency in her heart. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of blooming jasmine, and the sky was a vast expanse of twinkling stars. Under this celestial canopy, she began to write with an intensity she had never experienced before. Her pen seemed to glide effortlessly across the page, each word a note in a symphony of sentiment. "My dearest moon," she wrote, "you who have watched over me in my quietest moments, you who have been the keeper of my secrets and dreams. Tonight, I wish not just to be your admirer, but your companion. If only you could speak, I wonder what tales you would share, what wisdom resides in your ancient light." Elara poured her soul into her letter, weaving together memories of childhood nights spent gazing at the sky, of dreams that felt just out of reach, and of moments of joy and sorrow that the moon had silently witnessed. As she finished her letter, a gentle breeze stirred the garden, rustling the leaves and whispering through the flowers. Elara looked up at the moon, her heart full of yearning. She placed the letter on the garden table, a ritual she had performed countless times before, hoping that somehow her words would reach her celestial beloved. Little did she know that this night would be different. As she sat in silence, the garden pulsed with an energy that felt almost alive. The stars twinkled with a newfound brightness, and the moon seemed to glow with an intensity that cast elongated shadows across the ground. It was as if the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting for something magical to unfold. To Elara's astonishment, the moon seemed to shimmer with an unearthly luminescence that night, its light more radiant than she had ever seen. Her heart skipped a beat as the silver beam cascaded down, enveloping the garden in a soft glow. It was as if the moon itself was reaching out to her, acknowledging her presence in a way she could scarcely believe. Elara's breath caught in her throat as she noticed something unusual happening to the letter on the table. The paper, illuminated by the moon's light, appeared to be transforming. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, words began to form on the page in a delicate, silvery script. Trembling with disbelief, she leaned closer. "Dear Elara," the letter began, "your words have been carried upon the winds of night, and I have listened to each one, cradling them in the folds of my light. You have seen me as few others do, not just as a distant orb in the sky, but as a soul, a presence." Elara's heart swelled with wonder and joy. The moon, her silent confidant, had spoken back. It was a moment both surreal and beautiful, one that transcended the boundaries of her imagination. The garden around her seemed to pulse with magic, the flowers glowing softly as if celebrating this extraordinary connection. "Your heart is a reflection of the very dreams I illuminate," the moon continued. "In your words, I see the depth of your spirit, the beauty of your thoughts. Know that I am here, watching, waiting, and listening." Elara could hardly contain her excitement. Every letter she had penned, every thought she had shared had reached the moon, and now they were engaged in a dialogue that felt timeless and infinite. This revelation filled her with a sense of purpose, igniting her creativity in ways she never imagined possible. The moon's letter continued, unfolding a tale of its own existence, a history woven with the stars and the earliest whispers of the universe. It spoke of the countless nights it had watched over the earth, witnessing the joys and sorrows of those below. "I have seen love blossom and wither, dreams rise and fall, yet never have I encountered a heart as pure and steadfast as yours, dear Elara." Elara's eyes brimmed with tears as she read. The moon's words were like a balm, soothing the ache of loneliness she had carried for so long. She felt a connection that transcended the physical, a bond that intertwined her spirit with the celestial. The moon had not only acknowledged her existence, but had also affirmed her feelings, validating the very essence of who she was. As the nights passed, their correspondence grew richer, each letter a beautiful exchange of thoughts, emotions, and dreams. Elara found herself sharing her deepest fears and wildest hopes, pouring her heart onto the pages with a fervor she had never known. The moon, in turn, offered wisdom that spanned the ages, sharing tales of starlit adventures and cosmic wonders that captivated Elara's imagination. "Your dreams are threads in the fabric of the universe," the moon wrote one night. "Embrace them, for they are as important as the light I cast upon the world. Each aspiration is a star waiting to shine, and every moment of doubt is merely a shadow passing through your heart." Elara cherished these letters, often reading them over and over, allowing the moon's words to resonate within her. With each response, she felt her confidence grow, her creativity blossoming like the flowers in her garden. Inspired, she began to write not just for herself, but for her village, sharing the beauty of her correspondence with the moon. She invited the villagers to join her under the moonlight, to listen to the stories of love and dreams that flowed from her heart. As the seasons turned and the years passed, Elara's life was enriched by the moon's companionship. Her poetry flourished, imbued with the light and love she received from her celestial friend. The village came to cherish her words, finding inspiration and comfort in the verses she penned. Elara's letters transformed into poems that spoke of love, loss, and the beauty of existence. Her nightly rituals in the garden became a source of fascination for the villagers. They would gather, captivated by her tales of the moon and the wisdom it shared. Children would sit at her feet, wide-eyed, as she recited verses filled with wonder and magic, their imaginations ignited by the stories of the moonlit conversations. One evening, as Elara sat in her garden beneath the familiar glow of the moon, she felt a profound gratitude welling within her. She took up her pen and wrote a letter of thanks, expressing her deepest appreciation for the moon's presence in her life. "You have given me a gift beyond measure," she wrote, "a light that guides me even in the darkest nights." The moon's response was tender and heartfelt. "You, Elara, have taught me the beauty of human emotion, the depth of longing, and the strength of love. It is I who should thank you, for through your eyes I have seen the world anew." Elara was moved by the moon's words, realizing that their connection was not just a one-sided admiration, but a mutual exchange of light and love. She felt a sense of purpose in her writing, understanding that her poetry had the power to touch hearts and inspire others. As she continued to share her work with the villagers, they began to see the world through her eyes, finding solace in her words. The village became a tapestry of stories woven together by Elara's poetry, each person touched by the magic of her celestial friendship. As time went on, Elara continued her correspondence with the moon, their letters a testament to the power of connection and imagination. Her life, once twinged with loneliness, was now a radiant tapestry of joy and inspiration. She became a beacon of light in her village, her poetry a source of hope for those who sought her words. Elara's fame spread beyond the village, drawing visitors from far and wide who sought to hear her recite her moonlit verses. She would often host gatherings in her garden, inviting villagers and newcomers alike to listen to her tales of love and longing, of dreams and aspirations. The moon watched over these gatherings, its light illuminating the scene like a stage set for the most enchanting of performances. The laughter of children and the murmurs of awe filled the air, creating a sense of community that thrived on the magic of storytelling. The villagers began to see Elara not just as a poet, but as a bridge between the earthly realm and the celestial. They would often ask her to share her insights about the moon, curious about the connection she had forged with it. Elara, in turn, delighted in their fascination, weaving tales that combined the moon's wisdom with the human experience. One evening, as she recited her favorite poem under the bright moonlight, she noticed a young girl named Leah staring at her with wide eyes. Leah had always been drawn to the stars, her imagination filled with dreams of flying among them. After the gathering, Elara approached the girl, sensing her yearning spirit. "Do you love the moon, dear Leah?" Elara asked, crouching down to meet her gaze. "Oh yes," Leah replied, her eyes sparkling. "I dream of dancing in the stars and talking to the moon just like you do." Elara smiled warmly, her heart swelling with the joy of inspiration. "You can, you know. The moon listens to all who speak to it, and your dreams are just as important as anyone else's. Never stop believing in your magic." Leah nodded, determination etched on her small face. "I won't. I'll write to the moon too." Encouraging the next generation of dreamers filled Elara with a sense of purpose. She began to mentor the children in her village, teaching them how to express their feelings through words and art. Under the moonlit sky, they would gather to share their thoughts, their laughter ringing out like music carried on the wind. However, as the years flowed like a river, whispers of change began to swirl through the village. A shadow loomed on the horizon, an encroaching darkness represented by men in suits who spoke of progress and development. They offered grand promises of progress and wealth, but at the cost of the village's cherished traditions and natural beauty. The villagers were torn. Some were eager for change, hoping that new roads and buildings would bring prosperity. Others, like Elara, understood that the essence of their village lay in its simplicity, in the connection to nature, and in the love they shared with the moon. She felt a deep sadness at the thought of losing the magic that had once inspired her poetry. One night, after a particularly heated village meeting, Elara returned to her garden, her heart heavy with concern. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a comfort light on her weary soul. She sat beneath its glow, seeking solace in the familiar presence that had always been there for her. "My dearest moon," she whispered, her voice trembling, "what can I do? The village is changing, and I fear we may lose our way." To her astonishment, the moon's light seemed to pulse softly, as if resonating with her fears. It was then that Elara felt a gentle breeze, a whisper of encouragement brushing against her skin. She closed her eyes, allowing the moon's energy to envelop her, igniting a spark of inspiration within her. Determined to protect the village and its traditions, Elara devised a plan. She would host a grand gathering, a celebration of their heritage, where the villagers could reconnect with the beauty of their home and remember the magic that lay within the moonlight. With renewed energy, Elara set to work, crafting invitations adorned with her poetry, calling on the villagers to join her in a night of storytelling, music, and dance beneath the moon's glowing embrace. She envisioned a night where their hearts would beat in unison, a night that would remind them of what truly mattered. As the day approached, the village buzzed with excitement, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. On the night of the gathering, lanterns were hung from trees, casting a warm glow across the garden. The villagers arrived, their faces aglow with anticipation, and Elara stood at the center, her heart racing with hope. As the moon rose high in the sky, its silvery light bathed the gathering in a warm glow. Elara welcomed everyone, her voice steady and filled with passion. "Tonight, we celebrate our home, our dreams, and the bonds that connect us all. Let us remember the magic that lies beneath the stars and within our hearts." The villagers joined in, sharing stories of their childhood, of nights spent gazing at the moon, and of dreams they had nurtured under its light. Music filled the air, laughter echoed through the garden, and the atmosphere pulsed with a vibrant energy that reminded them of their shared history. As the night unfolded, Elara recited her poetry, each verse resonating with the hearts of those gathered. She spoke of love, hope, and the importance of holding on to their roots. The moon cast a protective light over the gathering, as if affirming the bond they all shared. By the end of the night, something had shifted. The villagers felt renewed, emboldened by their connection to each other and to the moon above. They realized that the essence of their village was not just in the buildings or roads, but in the love and stories that intertwined their lives. In the days that followed, the villagers began to rally together. They voiced their concerns about the impending changes, standing united against the encroaching darkness. Elara became a beacon of hope, inspiring others to embrace their heritage and advocate for what mattered most. The moon served as their guiding light, illuminating their path as they fought to protect their village. With each passing night, the villagers grew more resolute, their hearts ignited by the memories they had shared and dreams that they still held dear. As the seasons changed, so did the tide of opinion in the village. The men in suits, once hopeful for easy gains, found themselves faced with a community that refused to be silenced. Elara and the villagers organized peaceful protests, showcasing their love for their home through art, poetry, and music. The villagers' efforts did not go unnoticed. News of their determination traveled far and wide, drawing attention from neighboring towns and city dwellers who admired their passion. Support poured in, and soon the village received offers of assistance from those who believed in their cause. Elara's poetry became a rallying cry, her words igniting a fire within the hearts of many. As she stood before her fellow villagers, reciting verses that spoke of resilience and unity, she felt the moon's energy guiding her, wrapping around her like a protective cloak. "Together we are stronger," she proclaimed, her voice resonating with conviction. "Let us not forget the beauty of our village, the stories that bind us, and the dreams that live within each of us. We can shape our future without sacrificing our past." The culmination of their efforts led to a decisive meeting with the men who sought to change their village. Elara, standing with her fellow villagers by her side, articulated their vision for a future that honored their heritage while allowing for growth and progress. The moon shone brightly that night, casting a silvery light over the meeting as Elara spoke from her heart. "We wish to welcome change, but it must be a change that respects our roots, one that preserves the magic of our village." Moved by the passion of the villagers and Elara's heartfelt words, the men began to reconsider their approach. They realized that the community spirit was something worth preserving, something that can enhance the village's appeal instead of overshadowing it. After much discussion, an agreement was reached. The village would retain its charm, with developments that honored its history and the natural beauty surrounding it. The villagers rejoiced, their hearts swelling with pride and gratitude. With the threat of change averted, Elara returned to her garden that night, her heart brimming with joy. She looked up at the moon. It seemed to shine even brighter in celebration. "Thank you, dear moon," she whispered, "for guiding us and reminding us of the magic we hold within ourselves." The moon's light enveloped her, and she felt a sense of peace wash over her. In that moment, Elara knew that their connection was not just a fleeting dream, but a bond that would last through the ages. As the village flourished, Elara continued to write, her poetry reflecting the beauty of their shared journey. The villagers often gathered in her garden, celebrating their victories and nurturing their dreams, with the moon always watching over them, a silent witness to their love and unity. Years passed, and the village thrived, a harmonious blend of tradition and progress. Elara's stories and poems became part of the fabric of their lives, inspiring generations to come. The children who had once listened to her tales now carried the torch, sharing their dreams under the watchful gaze of the moon. Elara grew older, her hair touched with silver, but her spirit remained as vibrant as ever. She continued to write, capturing the essence of life, love, and the enduring connection between the villagers and the celestial. One evening, as she sat in her garden, she looked up at the moon, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. "My dearest moon," she whispered, "you have been my guide, my companion, and my friend. Thank you for showing me the power of dreams and the beauty of love." The moon seemed to glow softly in response, cradling her words with its serene light. Elara felt a warmth envelop her, a gentle reminder that their bond was eternal, transcending time and space. Elara's tale became legend, a story passed down through generations, reminding all who heard it of the magic that exists in the world, the unseen connections that bind us, and the beauty of a love that transcends the boundaries of time and space. For somewhere, in the vast expanse of the universe, a poet and a moon continue their eternal dance, their love letters etched in the stars, a testament to the power of dreams and the enduring light of the human heart. In the quiet moments of night, when the village sleeps and the stars twinkle like scattered gems in the sky, the spirit of Elara and her beloved moon could still be felt. Those who dare to dream, to reach out for the stars, will find a kindred spirit in the moonlight, and perhaps, if they listen closely, they may hear the soft whispers of a poet who loved the moon, forever reminding them to embrace their own light, to chase their dreams, and to believe in the magic that lies within. In this way, the story of Elara lives on, echoing through the hearts of those who look up at the moon and find solace in its glow, a reminder that love, in all its forms, is a force as eternal as the stars. And so, life in the village thrived, fueled by the love they held for each other, and the moon that watched over them, guiding them through the dark and into the light.